Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi Rogers, can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes it can, although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be no more.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital. The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to today's episode of Face the Nation, reminding you we are live on Facebook at The Alternative Uganda or Dig Talk TV and on YouTube at The Alternative Uganda. I want to invite you to engage in the discussion by using the comment section. Comment in your ideas, your suggestions. I'll be going through them as the discussion. And folks, you can tag us on X, the formerly Twitter, or hashtag Face the Nation. Today with me, I have been joined by Honorable Lumala Emmanuel Dombo. He is the Director of Information and Publicity at the NRM Secretariat. We are going to be dissecting on a lot of issues, beginning from politics to economics to development and the issues that are affecting Ugandans at large. I really want to encourage you to join in the discussion as we discuss important issues of the nation. But as he's a person from the Eastern, of course I welcome him using the only Eastern language that I know very well, my Lusoga language. Honorable Nsanwiko kuba kuniwe kushoya Face the Nation. Ndi musanufu ino era mpulira nga mpereibwa ekitiibwa okutyama kuniwe mukama wange. Nsaba olamuse kubali mukutula kutubona olunaku lwaleero.
Bwebale ino omumbeza ndi musanufu ino olwaleero okuba n'imweyo. Abatuwuliriza mwena bakagwa mbalamwisa mwisubuke mwaka mukayiregule n'ebijja mu maiso ebyo kyabazinga mumulamuse mukobe muti tuli eno tulikola era tuweereze yanga.
Tulika akalabiza iwanga nyo ibusogo okutwaliza awalala.
Nekyo kyene.
Loud and clear is Honorable Emmanuel Dombo. I really want to begin with what is happening in the NRM. Could you please summarize for us what is happening around NRM, in and around NRM?
Well, that is a very wide question. Because NRM was elected with a manifesto in order to deliver some government programs.
Yes.
And this is something that is ongoing. Because the party won the elections. We had the president sworn in.
Yeah.
He formed the government and he started work.
Yes.
Now, the NRM manifesto has been unfolding over the past 4 years.
Yeah.
And very soon we shall be giving the statistics of implementation.
Wow.
But secondly,
Yeah.
we have the NRM, the party, which does continuous mobilization. So whereas NRM in the government is doing work implementing the manifesto and keeping Ugandans safe, the NRM, the party, continues to do mobilization in the population for the people to understand and appreciate the work that is being done by government, work being done by the party, but also to attract new members into the party, and also convince those who may have left the party
To come back.
because of one reason or another to come back.
That depends if the reasons were resolved.
No, that's the continuous mobilization I told you.
Okay.
If it requires explanation, that is basically mobilization. If it requires service delivery, then we implement it through government. So it is a double-way traffic, but I want to tell you that the NRM party is doing its work. Now,
Yeah.
this season specifically, we have had the NRM political and electoral roadmaps
Roadmap. Yes.
presented before the Central Executive Committee.
Yes.
And the SEC has approved it literally with modifications. There are only a few areas of concurrence where we are still consulting with the national chairman. And once those areas are ironed out, then the NRM Secretary General will officially launch to the people of Uganda the NRM roadmap and political roadmap.
Political roadmap.
And when that one happens,
Yes.
an announcement is going to be made so that the media, the public, all the social media fanatics and viewers, everybody should be able to know, and all the members of NRM,
Should know.
wherever they are,
Yes.
in order to begin preparing for the various exercises that have been earmarked within the roadmap.
Okay, talking about the roadmap that has just been approved by SEC, we saw a few modifications, though I want to invite you to talk about the few modifications that were made in this current roadmap.
Every work that is done within NRM, we follow the law. We have the national constitution, which clearly identifies the various electoral cycles that we have in the country. We then have the various subsidiary laws governing the election, registration, and other activities conducted by Electoral Commission or any other related bodies. Then we have the NRM Constitution, which clearly specifies what is supposed to be done by who and almost when. And these two, the NRM roadmap, must concur or must be prepared in tandem with the Independent Electoral Commission roadmap. So that the days don't conflict, and so that we are ready to participate in the next elections without forwarding independence in the exercise. So right now, the Central Executive Committee, like you have said, has approved the roadmap. One of the specific recommendations which has been made in that roadmap is what is provided in the NRM Constitution, that we should have candidates meetings. Previously, we have had the candidates moving alone. But because of that, many candidates speak a lot of lies. They use bad mouth and incite the public when they are not moving together. Thirdly, it becomes difficult for the party to supervise and regulate meetings of individual candidates when they have been organized, funded, and facilitated by the respective candidates. So the only way you can control candidates who are going to contest and they follow and abide by the regulations is to ask them to follow the rules as provided in the Constitution, that we shall have joint candidates meetings. Secondly, the NRM must provide for the management and facilitation of the meetings. Thirdly, the party must provide security for the meetings and for the candidates during the meetings. This can only be done if the candidates are moving together.
That is true.
The other exception, which is still under consultation, is the use of technology in order to improve the management and the retrieval of results from the communities. Because this one is still at the formative stage, I cannot delve much into the details because we're still interacting with a number of technological survey people, but also doing internal synthesis to find out whether the recommendations they are making is something that can be bought by the party.
Honorable, about the key modifications that you have mentioned, you didn't talk about the debates that the NRM is going to hold ahead of 2026 elections amongst the candidates that will be eyeing for positions.
We are going to have two things happening. The first one is by the members of the Central Executive Committee. They are going to constitute a team that is going to go ahead in order to harmonize the conflicting or contrary views amongst our members. That is the first one. The second one is that one which you are talking about, the candidates moving and debating together in the joint candidates meetings. This is something that has happened before in NRM, when we were still under the movement system. We have also used it, we recently used it in Kisoro by-elections. Candidates moved together and were debating together. And people get an opportunity to make a decision together. So, although it is something that hasn't been commonly used in many areas in Uganda, but it has been used before.
You see, Honorable, the kind of debates that Ugandans thought you were referring to were these debates that the NUP staged during the Kawempe by-election amongst the candidates that were contesting for that position.
They are basically the same. Because the NUP did it at national level. For everybody to see, even somebody who is in Arua, somebody who is in Kisoro. In NRM, we shall be doing the same debates,
but at the local level.
But where the voters are. So the candidates will be going to parishes for members of parliament, and the women members of parliament and chairpersons LC5, they will be moving to sub-counties. All people gather and they watch their people. Those who have social media, they will capture the pictures and share them for the world to see. But for us, we shall localize. Because we don't have enough media to capture all candidates at a go. We don't have the time. It is not possible. But every candidate can do the same in their respective areas.
If you say you do not have the time, do you think the NRM, your party, has the resources to conduct those debates all over the country?
Absolutely, yes. NRM, first of all, is going to raise money.
From?
During elections. The candidates or the aspirants are going to pay money during nomination exercise. That is money which is intended to meet part of the election expenses.
Okay.
Secondly, we receive money from government
To fund your activities. Yeah.
through the Independent Electoral Commission every quarter. So it is the responsibility is with us to ensure that we budget and do a modest budget which can manage funding that exercise. I want to tell you that we are more than ready as a secretariat to do exactly that.
If any Ugandan outside there said that you are doing a copy and paste from the NUP party now to NRM, would they be right?
So if I told you that NRM started doing this before NUP was born, how would we be copying? In 1996, I contested for elections through candidates' meetings. In 2001, I participated in elections.
Yeah.
Recently, we had by-elections in Kisoro. We had joint candidates. We have been doing these joint candidates with other media houses during elections. So, if you must state the correct statement, it says it should stay that the NUP copied
from you
what we had been doing, and they took it to the national television. But this is what we usually do.
It just publicized it, but it is not in their originality that they brought the idea.
No, it was a good idea, and many, I want to tell you that many members of NUP were originally members of the National Resistance Movement. So they went with the good ideas they had learned this way,
And they took
and they could be perfected it the other side, the way they did it. So, but knowledge is there for sharing. If we can share with them and they learn something, what is wrong with that?
Absolutely nothing. Honorable, following the current media landscape, everyone identifies or recognizes that NRM isn't having that online media presence. So what plans are you putting into place so that the NRM can achieve an online media presence, especially amongst the youth?
You know, unless you choose not to see what we do, or perhaps unless you want us to double the effort that we have invested so far. We have a lot of media presence in the social media, but many NRM young people perhaps have not volunteered enough to do some of the voluntary work that many young people in NUP have been doing.
Okay.
You know, for us in NRM, we are in government. Many people do social media for us, but many also want to do it at a cost, which may be a bit expensive.
Yes.
Given the competing needs within the party. But I'll welcome ideas from you on how best we can improve.
Well,
Because
I can take up the job.
I've told you.
For as long as
Now you're asking the bill. Already like
I haven't asked. Why are you?
when you talk of job,
So it is like a service.
At the end of every job, there must be a paycheck. But it's something that we can talk about.
Yeah, in your submission, Honorable, you talked about the EC, Electoral Commission, as being an independent electoral commission. Well, watching the EC that appeared before Legal Affairs Committee in the Parliament, we had the EC chairman, Mr. Simon Byabakama, say that some of his staff are being cautioned or asked to write reports or statements why NRM lost in Kawempe. Is that true, Mr. Honorable Dombo? If it is true, then how is EC an independent institution?
I listened to Justice Byabakama very attentively, and I heard the statement. And he said his staff had been asked to record statements.
Yes.
Now, I don't know the veracity of the issues over which they were supposed to record statements. But I'm aware that we have lost elections before because of the bad conduct
of the EC.
of the electoral officials.
Oh.
So if it has happened before elsewhere, it also can happen in Kawempe. So we don't know the details. I wish I had known the details, or if I wish I knew the details, we would talk about them without necessarily going into the details. But since Justice Wakama excused himself, I also excuse myself not to delve into the issues that could have formed part of the issues to be talked about. What I can, however, say is that the staff of the Electoral Commission are individuals.
True.
Right now, we know that a number of them have been suspended.
Why?
The secretary of the commission was suspended. A number of senior staff were interdicted because of some crafty things they had done within the Electoral Commission. If the staff could do that within their own mandate and they fail to implement what they are supposed to do, how much more will other staff also do other erroneous things when they are doing their work elsewhere? So, Electoral Commission, they are human beings. They are capable of doing good things, but others can also do bad things.
That is understandable. Honorable, let's focus a little on the just completed by-election in Kawempe and what transpired there. I would really want to listen in your comment about everything that transpired in Kawempe. And as the Director of Publicity and Information, would you say what happened there was fair to the citizens and those that participated in that election?
You want us to speak about everything?
We shall...
that happened in Kawempe.
You shall just give a comment of what happened in Kawempe.
If it is just a comment, then we shall.
Yes.
I was wondering whether you have time.
No.
For something that took a full month for us to narrow it into a few minutes. First and foremost, the by-elections or any elections in Uganda are conducted according to are supposed to be conducted according to the laws of Uganda.
Yes.
And the responsible agency of government is the Independent Electoral Commission, assisted by the commissioners and staff of the commission. For us as parties, we offer candidates and we must abide by the rules and regulations as prescribed by the law. And then the agencies of government like the police, and at times the military, if the police chooses to invite them, they come and support on ensuring that there is security in the election exercise.
Exactly.
What we saw on the TV stations is not something that we admire or would support because we came out strongly to condemn it because it affected the performance of our candidate. Because there were people who were dressed in either police or military uniform who were seen mishandling either the candidate, especially Honorable Nalukola, or the members of the media and other members of the public. Now the people in their own conclusions, many thought these are people which had been sent by the NRM. Yet we didn't know where they came from and who brought them.
They acted on their own orders.
And what they came to do. They can only tell us if you can get them. But I know I saw the Minister of Internal Affairs in Parliament denying having deployed them. I saw the Minister of State for Internal Affairs in Parliament also denying having deployed them. So, since this is a matter of subject to investigation, we shall wait with a lot of anxiety the outcome of the investigations so that we can see those who may be culpable,
And
we want them to face the law, and then a deterrence to be put in place so that it does not happen again to affect, especially our members,
the image of the NRM.
our members who are participating in the elections, our candidates, but also hurting the individuals. There were many innocent people who could have been hurt, members of the media who were hurt because of this exercise.
Yes.
So we condemned it, but we shall wait for the investigations to see what prompted, what happened.
Well then, Honorable, now that you have cleared the air about what transpired in Kawempe, how then should we ensure that all rights are protected regardless of people's political affiliations, during and after the elections?
You know, elections are a do or die in Uganda, and this is not very good. Because when people go for an election, there will definitely be only one winner.
That is true.
And where an election produces about more than one candidate, you definitely know somebody will lose.
True.
So the first thing, the candidates themselves must have civic education and election education.
Whose role is it to perform the civic education?
Ordinarily, Ugandans are of age. By the time you become 18 and register as a voter, you should know and expect that if you contest, only one person will be elected. If you support a candidate and there are more than one, you must know that one of them will go through and another will lose. Now, if everybody participates, knowing that everybody will win, this naturally leads to confrontation with everybody working beyond what they are supposed to do in order to ensure that their candidates win.
Yes.
This is not right. So, it is the responsibility of the Electoral Commission to organize free and fair elections.
Yes.
And also to conduct voter education. But it is the responsibility of all Ugandans to know their civic responsibilities. The members of the church should preach about it. Those in the mosque should teach about it. Those in the schools should teach the children about it. So that those, when the president is talking to the nation, he usually talks about it. Now, if everybody does what they are supposed to do, then there shouldn't be a problem at the time of elections. But if everyone incites voters to go and fight and ensure you win, usually the outcome is not good. Because quite often, people hurt one another.
Referring to your submission, Mr. Honorable, you say that elections in Uganda, it is a do or die. How did we get into that situation? That people consider going to Parliament or becoming an LC1 or LC5. It is a job instead of a service.
That has, Uganda has progressively degenerated into believing like that. At the time I was elected in Parliament, first elected in 1996, I don't know how old were you?
I won't mention it.
I don't want to know, but I know if you are born, you must have been very young.
Yes, true.
But at that time, people freely participated in elections and we had very free and fair elections, very credible. Progressively, elections attracted more young people who were energetic, and some were willing to flex their muscles because they were young. They had just come out of school, and many of them were being incited by their older friends or candidates. Others were being paid
to participate
in violence. This is what hurts. And finally, the biggest straw in the iron is in the horse's back came when the payment in parliament for members of parliament and other elected leaders became very attractive.
Yeah.
Now, somebody would rather leave teaching
and go join politics.
or leave the media and go and join politics. You can see how many journalists are resigning from various media houses
to join politics.
and everybody is running into politics. Whoever wants to go there gives their own reasons.
Yes.
Others will tell you, we are joining a generational fight. Others will say, ensonga etaano semasonga. Others will say, fighting a dictator. Others will say, nange mundeke ndieko. Some are honest, as honest as that.
Yes.
What surprises me is that some voters also listen to them saying, Mundekenge ndieko. And then they vote them. And then they later turn out to complain when their people they have elected disappear. Then you say, if you elected them, Mundekenge ndieko. Then you say, nafe tuwaka ani?
Akafe.
Tuwaka afe, kubanga gogenda kufuna akaku. This is very dangerous and very bad. It should be condemned. And if it requires us revising the law or revising the packs of elected leaders, then so be it. If doing so will help us to attract good leaders who will serve the people, not serving themselves.
Now that on a level that we are in this mess right now, how do we get out of it?
The first point is people must talk to one another. Honestly, the Katikiro of Buganda has been at the forefront of preaching people talking to one another.
Yes.
He recently hosted the members of NRM during the Kabakaran mobilization. He also hosted the members of the National Inter-Platform.
Yes.
And I listened to his messages. He was very right and honest. He says, talk to one another. And he showed an example by welcoming all people in Uganda, in as much as they were not against the Kabaka. That's the only bottom line that he gave. So, talking to one another is something that we must do. You can see that NRM has been spearheading this already. Because, you know, we have a cooperation agreement with the Democratic Party. We also have a cooperation with the Uganda People's Congress. We also talk to members of various parties. Even in the current NRM administration, we have members from FDC who are serving as ministers. We have members from the UPC. We have members from other parties. I would encourage others also to come and join, and we talk about Uganda. Why should people go to parliament and only talk about sharing money amongst themselves when they cannot talk about working together to solve the people's problems? Government gives money to political parties.
True.
NRM receives money, some good amount of money from government. The National Inter-Platform
Does
receives money from government. But have you heard them going to acknowledge that in public?
They do.
They don't clearly talk about it. They will tell you they are going to fight President Museveni. They will not tell you that President Museveni brought a good law that enables political parties
To thrive
within Uganda without using money from dirty hands from outside the country. So these are things that are not talked about. So if people talk to one another in honest and in good faith, then we can transform the process of elections and respect the outcome and respect one another.
Now that you have brought in the issue of money, let's talk about the Ugandan parliament that now people refer to as a transactional parliament. As the Director, Information and Publicity, NRM, would you be proud to associate with such a house?
You know, Parliament is talked about and rated depending on what angle are you talking from.
Depending on what transpires in there.
Because we don't have any member of Parliament who works at the Secretariat. But we participate in the caucus meetings that take place in order for us to know what has been decided for implementation or what has been decided so that we can communicate. Now, when the members of Parliament sit amongst themselves and they decide where we are not, that one we cannot be held culpable or responsible. But there has been a report in the media that the members of Parliament received 100 million shillings. We have asked the Secretary General to find out from the government chief whip
whether it is true.
Whether this one is true. Because if it is, then they should tell us why they received it, so that we can explain to the population what it is meant to do. If it is fake news, then the government chief whip should also tell us, because he's the one who chairs the caucus for members of Parliament.
Would it surprise you, Honorable, if it was true that the members of Parliament received 100 million shillings, yet there are precedents since 2012 of members of Parliament receiving such amounts of money towards an election process?
I don't want to speculate, but I know I have been a member of Parliament. And I know one time when the members of Parliament were overborrowed, and there was a Chinese company that wanted to buy the entire debt of members of Parliament so that they can service it at a cost. But because this could easily compromise the sovereignty of a nation and the independence of members of Parliament to debate with freedom issues concerning the country, we chose to consult the President of Uganda about that matter. And I remember the President responding to us using a Kinyankole proverb. I will not quote it in Kinyankole because I don't remember exactly the words.
It's okay.
But I can repeat it in English. He said the Wanyankole have a proverb which says that a human being can only clean his or her ass using their own hands.
That is true.
You cannot borrow a neighbor's hand
to clean your ass.
To clean your ass. So he said, because this one has been done by our members of Parliament, we cannot allow a Chinese investor
to clean our mess,
to come and look into this mess. So he took a decision as the head of the nation to bail out
the members
of Parliament from that mess. And that was made public. We even discussed it as members of Parliament. So the President used his magnanimity in order to solve a strategic impediment which could have easily compromised the members of Parliament, but also the strategic security of the nation. For now, I don't know what exactly has happened, whether it is true that MPs have been paid,
to monitor government
and
programs.
if so, to do what? The members of Parliament should come out and go to the media houses and tell the people. Because for us, that time when it happened, we went to the media houses and explained why it became necessary and the magnanimity of the President to helping Parliament solve a predicament which they had made themselves.
Now, speaking of NRM, as a member of the NRM that has been vocal in the politics of NRM, would you consider your party a democratic party?
NRM.
Yes, sir.
Is there any party in Uganda that preaches and demonstrates democracy like we do? We may have shortcomings,
Like everyone does.
but see how we determine our internal leaders. A roadmap has come out. We have just been doing a register for the party. We are going to conduct internal elections, the structures. Our flag bearers are determined by votes lining in the back, not even casting a secret ballot, but you line behind the back of somebody. That is how open and how democratic we
the
are
NRM is.
as a party.
If you say and believe that NRM is democratic, could you cite for us a time when Mr. President had a contestant for a flag bearer in the NRM party?
In order to determine, President Museveni is subjected to elections twice as a national chairman, but also determination of the flag bearer. Those are the two times,
Yes.
according to the party constitution.
Yes.
And every time they have invited aspirants, either for the office of the national chairman or the office of, or the being the flag bearer for NRM, there are processes that are highlighted by the NRM constitution. That there will be call of expression of interest. When names are brought, they are taken to the Central Executive Committee and the National Council. And this is a vetting process now.
Yes.
Once aspirants have expressed their interest and the vetting process starts, then we conform to what the Constitution says. That is the form of democracy. So people have been expressing. Honorable Kotogong at one time expressed interest.
But he wasn't lucky enough to...
Of course, he wouldn't, he didn't have qualities that would match
that of
the president. Okay. Then there was this my brother from Makindye, Simbwa, Honorable Simbwa.
Yes.
Honorable Simbwa aspired, and the vetting
he didn't go through the vetting process.
The vetting process didn't favor him, and many other people from the Western here, the names some names have disappeared. So we have democracy, but at some levels of election, we practice guided democracy in conformity with the constitution of the party.
You are telling Ugandans this evening, Honorable, that within the NRM party, you do not have competent individuals to compete favorably with Mr. President or Mr. Museveni for a flag bearer, to be flag bearers of the NRM.
We have people who can compete, but their merit does not match the merit of President Museveni. Oh. That's the only thing. Even in my constituency, when I was there, we had people who would compete. Others would fear to come. They would respect me. Others would come, those who can't even match anything.
Intimidated or threatened?
No, they just fear, and they say that this man, because of his experience, he was a guild president in Makerere many years ago. He has been a member of parliament for 3 terms. If he's going to be elected for a 4th term, who am I to compete with him? So even with President Museveni, he's a general in the army. He has been fighting for the rest of his life to liberate the lives of Ugandans. And he has performed exceedingly well. When you look at NRM and what he has been able to build the country, to the extent that now he brought a law which enables political parties to be supported by government. He also wanted that law expanded for for religious institutions to be supported by government, but its implementation became difficult to fathom. So the law was not conceived, but it's an idea the president brought about to say these bishops suffer. When he goes to churches, he saws the collections are little. They cannot support the leaders or the churches. So he decided to set money aside to support activities of Namugongo. You saw when the Muslims were celebrating the Martyrs' Day here in Kampala, they were supported by the president. Whenever there is an archbishop or mufti being consecrated or enthroned, government or the president has come out to support the churches or the religious institutions with either resources or physical assets. So these are things the president has done, and his magnanimity therefore, and his patience, and the elasticity of his patience makes him beat everybody who aspires to beat anybody.
We expect to see Mr. Museveni as the best candidate again come 2026 as we head for that electoral cycle. But taking you back to when you were coming into power as the NRM party, you had the 10-point program. Would you, Mr. Honorable, rate yourself on the 10-point program, considering human rights and corruption, which are the key issues that are being violated currently by the political party that you support and believe in?
Well, the foundation of what NRM has done in Uganda rests on one major factor.
Which factor is that?
Establishment of security of persons
and their property.
And their property. Every opposition leader who goes outside to complain to the Bazungu that NRM is a dictator or President Museveni is a dictator, they go with a return air ticket in their pocket. After accusing NRM,
they come back.
Or President Museveni, they run to the airport, jump on the plane, and they hurry to the Electoral Commission to pick the money from the government of Uganda. That's the irony. That's the contradiction. So, President Museveni has done so well on security, and the NRM has done so well on security. It has done so well on democracy in the country. People elect their leaders. You can see the leader of the opposition in parliament. The other time we had FDC bringing various leaders. Honorable Gengalatigo, Professor. We had Honorable Wafula Ogutu, Honorable Mafabi Nandala, my sister Winifred Kiza from Kasese, and my sister from Gulu. So, and most recently, we had Honorable Matthias Impuga. Now we have Honorable Senyunyi. They are running the country from the opposition and facilitated by government. That is the democracy we're talking about. The National Unity Platform was born yesterday and to fielded the candidates and to beat the FDC out of the leader of the opposition. They would want to match the president, but according to you, would you really replace President Museveni with the likes of my young brother, the president of the National Unity Platform?
That it isn't within my capacity to answer, Mr. Honorable, but rating yourself on the 10-point program out of 10, how many do you give yourself?
When you go to the 10-point program, we had the security.
Yes.
You know that Uganda is the home, is an island of peace. Those running from South Sudan, they run here. Those running from Sudan, they run here. Those running from Congo, they run here. Those running from Somalia, they come here. Those running from other countries, all of them, what do you think they are looking for?
Safety.
So, you think there is no oxygen where they are staying?
It is there.
So why are they running away from their oxygen, coming to look for the oxygen in Uganda? Because the oxygen in Uganda can be enjoyed at night, during the day, when you are sleeping, and your property.
Yeah.
There is no leader of the opposition here who can accuse government of confiscating their property. When you breach the laws, you can be asked to conform to the public regulations. You can complain about the excesses of the agencies of government,
Yes.
but you cannot say there is no peace and security in Uganda. Then there is a national building. The nation is now a nation. Previously, when you looked at Uganda, if you looked at Uganda, would you say Uganda was a complete state?
When? Which years are those? That
When NRM came to power, when it gave with the 10-point program, Uganda had disintegrated totally. And Uganda had disintegrated, and when you look at the 10-point program, and you see what NRM has done with these 10 points,
Yes.
rebuilding of the economy. When NRM came here, would NRM afford to pay the salaries of the people of Uganda? Government was borrowing money to pay salaries. Government was borrowing money to run the economy. We are over-indebted.
Aren't we over-indebted currently, now that government is borrowing money to fund a budget?
But now, when somebody lends you money, he knows that you have very good data you can pay.
Thank you so much, Honorable,
Because
for having...
we are indebted, but we can pay. The economy is self-integrated. All the things we eat here, all the essential commodities, do you import any?
We import a few.
Because of international trade.
But
But we also export so many things which are not being exported.
when the NRM came to power, agriculture was the backbone of Uganda. And
Even up to now, agriculture is the backbone of Uganda.
really?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Honorable Emmanuel Dombo, for giving us time to sit down with us and talk issues of development and those issues that are concerning the citizens of Uganda. I would ask you to say your parting shots as we close our show.
This has been a short time. We could not exhaust all the questions with the information that is available.
Yes.
It will require a longer time, more patience, and I want to encourage you to come back
We shall definitely.
so that we can do further recordings and educate especially the Bazukuru. Teach them where Uganda has come from,
Where it is
where it is now,
and where it is.
and where we are going.
Okay.
Tell them Uganda wants to participate in the World Cup. We have enough gold medals. We want to produce oil in order to pump the economy. We want everybody to be self-sustaining. We want people to earn money and put money in their pockets.
Yes.
We want the people who are working for their stomachs, cholera kida chonka, to stop. We want people to appreciate the work NRM has done, so that come 2026, you again elect NRM with President Yoweri Museveni as its flag bearer. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Honorable, for giving us that time to sit down with us. Quoting Mr. Amos Lugolobi a few days ago, he said that you people shouldn't die now. You should keep yourself alive to see the Uganda in the next 5 years. I also want to appeal to you, please don't die. You should live to see the Uganda in the next 5 years. I don't know what is going to happen, but it must be good and appeasing. Have yourself a good evening.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Go to the church, though.
Tawali man, what's up?
Man, can you imagine people just dump everywhere? Someone drinks water and throws the bottle wherever.
Come on, Rogers. What else do you expect people to do with an empty bottle?
Simanya now, recorder. Did you know that plastics take at least 450 years to decompose?
What? That's a long time.
Exactly. Because plastics are made out of a lightweight and flexible material that doesn't decompose easily. And plastics everywhere in the environment cause plastic pollution.
What is plastic pollution now?
It is the accumulation of plastic waste in the environment, like bottles, polythene bags, straws. All of these contribute to plastic pollution.
I have been using them without knowing their effect.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Plastics are a danger to the ecosystem, both on land and in water.
So how can we overcome this problem? Is there something we can do?
Oh yes, we can reduce by minimizing the use of plastics, reuse by repurposing them, or recycle by collecting and processing them into new products.
Everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change themselves for the world.
How about we change our habits for the world?
And it starts with me and you.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digitalk.